Hello and welcome back. This is video number 8, and we're going to talk about creating a custom audience. Now, it's really not hard. I'm going to show you step by step what you need to do, and we'll give you some recommended criteria to get started. So like I said, most of you are going to use the website traffic custom audience. So I went ahead and just clicked on that one, and you're going to see this here. Now, Facebook might change the user interface, but the majority of the time it's pretty much the same. So it says include people who meet any of the following criteria. Now you can change the any to all if you want. So we could say anybody who visits the initial page, any page, or let's say, for example, the blog posts. If somebody visits the blog post, or another blog post, let's say we have 3 different blog posts, then we can say anybody who visits any of these 3 blog posts, let's retarget them. Let's put them in a custom audience. So if it's any, you could say all website visitors in the last 30 days. So it's all website visitors or people who visited a specific web page, or they spend a certain amount of time on your website. And this is really good to have just in case somebody visits really quickly and then leaves. You're most likely not going to want to create a custom audience to somebody who comes to your website and within 5 seconds leaves. You would rather create a custom audience of people who perhaps came, spent about 10 minutes or more, and then you could create a custom audience on that, because that usually means that they are interested in what you have to offer. So you could do that. You could do, specific events like page view, general event, view content, or purchase. Now, if it's a specific web page, then you're going to want to enter the full URL. Or what you could do is you could say anybody who visits a specific web page that has the keyword blog in it or paint, something like a keyword. Now, what I would recommend is to enter the full URL right here. So you could have one here, you could include more like so. So you could click that and include more and more and more. Or you could say something like include people who meet all. So they have to have visited blog post 1, 2, and 3 in order to be considered part of that custom audience. Now, what we found over the years is the more specific, the better. If you can get a custom audience for a very specific page, then when you create a retargeting ad, you will be able to talk to them very specifically. It becomes a problem when you become too general and the Facebook ad is too general and it doesn't really meet the specific needs of that visitor, if that makes sense. Now, another question that you might have is, well, out of the 30 days, do I want to do 30 days, meaning anyone who visit the specific page in the past 30 days is going to be inside of this custom audience? Now, the maximum time is 180 days, so you could do 180 days. But I am going to warn you because the majority of people who come to your page are not going to remember you past 7 days. So, keeping that in mind, you may want to stick with 30 days or less. And if you think about if you go to a web page, a lot of times you're not even going to remember it even 30 days down the road, unless it's a review page for a product that they are interested in or a product that they might be going to buy. So it really depends on the specific page that they have visited. Maybe they clicked add to cart, but they did not purchase. If that's the case, they're most likely going to remember it. But past 30 days, that becomes an issue. And if that becomes an issue, your conversions are not going to be there and they might click spam, which can actually hurt your Facebook ad. So bear that in mind whenever you're creating these custom audiences. Now you can also exclude. So you can say anyone who visits these pages, but I don't want to include maybe the third blog post. So I want to say anyone who visits the first two blog posts, but we're going to exclude the third one. You click exclude and you simply do the same thing and you enter the web pages there. So when you're done and you're ready, simply click on audience name, enter the name of the audience. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when you name the audience, name it something that you are going to remember and use a naming convention that you are going to remember. A lot of times it's easy to just name it anything that you want, but as you begin to build more custom audiences, you're going to forget. That's reality. And that's it. Hello and congratulations on getting access to this video course on Facebook retargeting. Okay, so this is video number 1, which is the introduction and getting started. So before we get started, I want to give you a quick overview of what's inside this video course so you know exactly what to expect. So obviously this is video number 1. Video number 2 is going to be a visual map of Facebook retargeting. And what that includes is I'm going to show you how Facebook retargeting works. And a lot of times people jump straight into showing you how to set things up. But unless you really understand how everything fits together, what connects to what, and all of that, it's really going to become confusing. Because if you set things up like an email opt-in retargeting campaign or a blog post campaign or a purchase retargeting campaign, every one of those is different. So once I show you the basics via a visual map, that's when we show you some real life examples in video number 3. Of course, in video number 4, I'm going to talk about the Facebook pixel, what it is, why it's important, and how it's used. And of course, from that point, we'll move to video number 5 and talk about how to add the pixel to your website, whether you're using WordPress, ClickFunnels, Lead Pages, or any other landing page builder. Video number 6, we'll talk about pixel variables and settings, otherwise known as standard events, such as how do you tell Facebook that somebody has landed on your page, somebody has converted into a lead, somebody has added the product to their shopping cart. Maybe you want to find people who have added things to the cart but have not yet purchased so that you can show an ad to them, remind them that they are interested in that purchase and perhaps give them some sort of discount as well. Video number 7, we're going to talk about custom audiences, which are essentially lists or segments of people that you have targeted. And when you create your Facebook ad, you can then target that specific custom audience and show that specific ad to that audience. And then of course, in video number 8, we'll have some practical application and show you how to create these custom audiences. And of course, last but not least, video number 9, we'll talk about retargeting campaign setup. All right, so let's talk about mindset, because I'm a big believer of having the right mindset before you get started. I want you to realize that you're not going to make a sale. You're not going to get leads right away just by setting up a Facebook retargeting campaign. Converting visitors really does take time. And to be realistic, sometimes 12 to 17 times of touch points, meaning you have to get in front of them 12 to 17 times before they will buy. So I want to make sure that you don't expect an immediate action or an immediate sale. Now, to get started, you're going to need these things. You're going to need to have a Facebook ad account. And in doing so, you'll also need to have a Facebook business account. And you can go to business.facebook.com to get access to a Facebook business account. Now, having a business account is separate from the Facebook ad account. You'll obviously need money for ads, realistically at least $500 or more. This is not free by any means, but it's a great way to test things and find results right away. You'll also need to have an idea of how you are selling your product or service. in terms of your website, in terms of your funnel landing page setup, meaning how many pages do you have in your funnel? Do you have 3? Do you have 4? Do you have 5? How many? So you want to have an idea of that before you get started, because it'll start to make sense once I show you around. And of course, you'll need to have some sort of mind map or flowchart software. And the reason for that is it will help you be able to map things out, map your own plan of attack out, so that you will be able to successfully implement everything that we're teaching you. Hello and welcome back. This particular video is video number 4, and we're going to focus on the Facebook pixel. So we briefly talked about that earlier, but before we dive in, I want to say that you will need to have a Facebook business account. So to do that, you'll need to go to business.facebook.com. That's business.facebook.com. You'll need to create an account so that Facebook knows that you have access to certain ad accounts. So with a business Facebook account, you are able to not only access your own account, but you'll also be able to access anyone else who gives you permissions to do so. Now, as far as the pixel goes, once you have created an account, what you'll need to do is up at the top, you'll see this events manager, and you'll see this / icon. You'll click on that, and then you'll click on the all tools down here, and then you'll click on pixels right here. Now, bear in mind that Facebook oftentimes will change around their user interface. So if it doesn't look exactly like this, then look around and you'll likely find the pixels. Now, like I said, Facebook changes their user interface a lot, sometimes every month, sometimes very frequently. So just keep that in mind. So what you need to do is simply go to pixels right here, and then you'll land on this specific page. Now, as I briefly mentioned earlier, a Facebook pixel is merely a piece of code that you put on your website. And we'll talk more about how to add that to your website, what are best practices, and all of that. But basically all you need to know is the Facebook pixel is a very powerful piece of code that allows Facebook not only to see who visits your website, who converts into a sale, who converts into an email opt-in lead, who perhaps fills out a form, and more. It also collects a lot of data about the visitor, who they are, what sites they visit, and a lot more data. In fact, Facebook in itself has so much data that as far as being an advertiser, it enables you to reach more people that are actually interested in what you have to offer. So that's basically what a pixel is. And to set it up, all you have to do is go to this page, click on Setup here, and it'll give you different options. So you can either click this here to manually install the code yourself, and it'll basically give you a piece of code that you will install. Or as you can see here, it says Facebook Pixel currently integrates with these platforms here. So you can click that and it'll allow you to add it to these locations here. And if you are not a web developer and you have a web developer and you prefer to send that information to them, then you can click email instructions to the developer. Now, we're going to talk more about this in the next video on how to get the code, how to add that code to your website. If you're using a WordPress website, what kind of WordPress plugins should you use? And we'll talk more about that in the next video.